Good morning, Standard 10, Subject English. Today we learn 2.5 Book Review Swami and Friends by R.K. Narayan on page number 69. At first I read it, the part of the passage, then tell about it. Listen carefully. Book Review Swami and Friends by R.K. Narayan. A little bit about the book. Anything I mention about the book can be mistakenly understood as spoilers, so I would give a glance into the book without mentioning any events or plots of the story. Swami is a mischievous little kid of about 10 years old and living in the era where India was under the British rule. Like most kids of that age, Swami is a kid who cannot stay at one place and absolutely hates school. Even worse, mathematics school is his absolute nightmare. Anyway, the story unfolds around the happenings of this kid and how he constantly gets into trouble and gets a good beating from his father. Swami is a talkative little kid and thinks that his way of facing life, talking himself out of everything, but he does learn the truth and hush way. As many teens back then, all he wants to do is play under the sun, kick something, climb a tree, break something and hurt somebody, unlike kids today. This, in fact, all and in most part of India still is the life of typical boy growing up. Technology isn't big in a kid's life. All they want is to play, have it. In what way is Swami a typical boy in his growing years? In this regard, Narayan gets deeply into the workings of Swami's 10-year-old mind, explaining quickly how he thinks and what his perspective of the world is. The teacher does feel like Swami and gets very attached with the character as the story progresses. That's the magic of Narayan. So, listen carefully. Anything I mention about the book can be mistakenly understood as a spoilers, so I would rather give a glance into the book without mentioning any events or plots of the story. In simple way, the poet mentioned simple way of life here. So Swami is a mischievous little kid and his age is about 10 years old and he is living in a era where India was under the British rule freedom before freedom. Now, like most kids of that age, Swami is a kid who cannot stay at one place, not stay one place, and absolutely hates school. He not stay in one place and he hates school. Even worse mathematics, because mathematics is a very difficult subject to him, and so even worse mathematics. He absolutely hates school. School is his absolute nightmare, means a very frightening experience. School is a absolute very frightening experience. Anyway, the story unfolds around the happening of this kid and how he constantly gets into trouble and gets a good beating from his father about it. Now Swami is a talkative little kid, and he thinks that his way of facing life, talking himself out of everything, like this, he liked it, and he does learn the truth. He does learn the truth, the harsh way, the harsh way. So, other boys or other many teens back then, all he wants to do is play under the sun. Under the sun, he liked it, kick something, climb a tree, break something, and hurt somebody means trouble, unlike kids today. This way, in fact, was and in most part of India still is the life of typical boy growing up in this way. The typical life of this boy, and in this way he is growing up. And technology isn't big in a kid's life. Means technology isn't big. Do in a kid's life. And so all they want is to play heavy, means to prevent normal function and cause damage. In what way is Swami a typical boy in his growing years? So in this regard, Narayan gets deeply into the working of Swami's 10-year-old mind, explaining in a pleasing manner how he thinks and what he point of view of the world is. So the reader does feel like Swami and gets very attached with the character as the story progresses. And so that's the magic of Narayan. That's the magic of Narayan. Today we complete this part of the lesson. We stop here.